Do we know why do we vote? Children, we are going to choose a school leader. You can vote for your candidates. Class 12 students who are interested for the post can come forward with your ideas. The act of choosing a representative to be the leader of a group is called election. Why the principal is asking students to elect their leader? This shows that the students have the power to choose their candidate. In a democracy, every person has right to vote. India is a democratic country. Why the school needs to elect the school leader? The students vote for a school leader so that the leader will make decisions for them and also will represent the school in many inter-school activity. Like the election for school leader, the election is conducted to choose a leader for our country. Let us understand what we expect from the leader. They can choose who will make laws for them. They can choose who will form the government and take major decisions. They can choose the party whose policies will guide the government and lawmaking. Elections can be held in many ways. All democratic countries hold elections. Also, most non-democratic countries also hold some kind of elections. Can you think of what differentiates a democratic election? Here are some conditions for a democratic election. Everyone should be able to choose. Parties and candidates should be free to contest elections and should offer some real choice to the voters. Elections must be held regularly after every few years. The candidate preferred by the people should get elected. Elections should be conducted in a free and fair manner where people can choose as they really wish. A body of voters in a specified area elects a representative to a legislative body. This area is called electoral constituency. Elections in all constituencies are held at the same time, either on same day or within few days. This is called a general election. Country is divided into 543 constituencies for Lok Sabha election. Representative elected for each constituency is called a member of parliament. Each state is divided into a specific number of assembly constituencies. Elected representative is called member of legislative assembly. The same applies for the panchayat and municipal election. Keeping the fact in mind that in an open electoral competition, weaker section may not stand a chance to get elected, our constitution thought of a special system of reserved constituency for them. Some constituencies are reserved for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Person belonging to these caste and tribe can contest election. We have already read about the adult franchise in chapter 1. Let us understand what it means. Everyone should have one vote and each vote should have equal value. No one should be denied the right to vote without a good reason. Every citizen, regardless of being rich or poor, educated or illiterate, deserve an equal say in decision making. Citizens aged 18 years and above have the right to vote, regardless of caste, gender or religion. Some criminal and person with unsound mind is denied the right to vote. How do you think government keeps track of eligible voters? In a democratic election, the list of those eligible to vote is prepared. This list is officially called electoral roll and commonly known as voters list. Moving on to the election of school leader, Anita and Akash stood for the position. Can anyone stand for the position of school leader? Only the student of class 12, who is the senior most in school, can participate in the election. Can you think of methods by which the candidates will draw votes? A series of coordinated activities, such as public speaking and demonstrating, is designed to draw votes. This is also called election campaigning. We saw that candidates are contesting for school leader election. Similarly, there are candidates contesting for the election on national level. Can any candidate be nominated for election? A candidate of minimum age of 25 years and has made a legal declaration giving full details of serious criminal cases pending against the candidate, details of assets and liabilities of the candidate and his or her family, education qualifications of the candidate contest an election ineligible for the candidature's nomination. Is educational qualification an important aspect for candidates? There is no relevant qualification for being an MLA or MP. They only require the ability to understand people's concerns, problems and to represent their interests. Every person to contest an election has to fill a nomination form and give some money as security deposit. We learn that nominated candidates do campaigning to gain popular votes from their followers. To attract the voters, these politicians use flashy slogans such as Garibi Hatao by Congress Party, Save Democracy by Janata Party, etc. It is sometimes necessary to regulate campaigns to ensure that every political party and candidate gets fair and equal chance to compete. However, according to our election law, no party or candidate can bribe or threaten voters, appeal to them in the name of caste or religion, use government resources for election campaign, spend more than rupees 25 lakh in a constituency for a Lok Sabha election or rupees 10 lakh in an assembly election, use any place of worship for election propaganda, use government's vehicles, aircrafts and officials for elections. Once the elections are announced, ministers shall not lay foundation stones of any projects, take any big policy decisions, or any promises of providing public facilities. The last day of an election is the day when voters cast their vote. Every person whose name is in voters list can go to a nearby polling booth. Inside the booth, the official identifies the voter and puts a mark on the finger. An agent of each candidate is allowed to sit inside the polling booth and ensure that the voting takes place in fair way. These days, electronic voting machines, EVMs, are used to record votes. A few days later after election, on a fixed date, all the EVMs from constituency are opened and the votes secured by each candidate are counted. The agents of all candidates are present there to ensure that the counting is done properly. During the election time, the politicians give lot of importance to people's problems. What happens after the election? In the previous lesson, we learnt about the importance of election. Also, now we understand the system of our election. However, newspaper and television reports refer to allegations of unfair practices in elections. Most of these reports are about the inclusion of false names and exclusion of genuine names in the voters list, misuse of government facilities and officials by the ruling party, intimidation of voters and rigging on the polling day, excessive use of money by rich candidates and big parties. Don't you think there should be someone to check whether elections are fair or not? In our country, elections are conducted by an independent and very powerful body called Election Commission, EC. The Chief Election Commissioner, CEC, is appointed by the President of India. Even if the ruling party does not like Commission's policies, they cannot remove the CEC. Does CEC have so much power? Very few election commissions in the world have such powers as the Election Commission of India. EC takes decisions on every aspect of conduct and control of election process. It implements the code of conduct and punishes any candidate or party that violates it. During election period, EC can order government to follow rules. On election duty, government officers work under the control of EC. All this was not possible if Election Commission was not independent. As we see that Election Commission makes sure that the election process is free and fair. Another way to check the quality of the election process is to see whether people participate in it with enthusiasm. Let us take a look on the charts and draw conclusions about people's participation in India. Here, turnover is the percent of eligible voters who actually cast their vote. This chart shows that over last 50 years, the turnout of Europe and North America has declined, whereas in India, the turnout has either remained constant or increased. The chart here shows that in India, the poor, illiterate and underprivileged people vote in larger proportions as compared to rich and privileged sections. This is contrary to the situation in United States of America. Common people in India feel that through election, they can pressurize political parties to adopt policies and programs favorable to them. This way, they attach lot of importance to elections. The interest of voters in election-related activities has been increasing over the years. For example, during the 2004 elections, 1 of every 7 voters is a member of a political party. One final test of free and fairness of election has in the outcome itself. Ruling parties routinely lose elections in India both at national and state level. Unlike US, in India about half of the sitting MPs or MLAs lose elections. Candidates known for spending money on buying votes and those with criminal connections often lose elections. Barring very few disputed elections, the electoral outcomes are usually accepted as people's verdict by the defeated party. We conclude that a few candidates may win on the basis of money, power and unfair means, but the overall verdict of general election still reflects popular preference. Is there any limitation to the people's knowledge before choosing a right person? There are some limitations and challenges of Indian elections that require attention. Candidates and parties with a lot of money enjoy a big and unfair advantage over smaller parties and independents. Candidates with criminal connection have been able to push others out of the electoral race and to secure a ticket from major parties. Some family tends to dominate political parties by distributing tickets among relatives and family members. Very often, elections offer little choice to ordinary citizens, for both major parties are quite similar in policies and practice.